everyone, welcome to Satsang. Let's make some silence first. Forget about everything else. Nothing and no one exists. Okay. Well, let's start answering some questions. I will answer your question now. Dear Sriman, is there anything you can say to mothers of small children who are trying to get on the spiritual path? Thank you. Well, you can find in spirituality a lot of different disciplines and teachings about this. Because this is what diversity means, that there's always something which is suitable to your specific circumstances. But what I can tell you about this is um, this: be the best mother that you can be, because that small child which is on your care, it is a part of you. It doesn't have still a different identity, but even if it did, treat it the best way possible, take care of it the best way possible, be the best mother that you can be. And if life by any chance takes it away, accept it and move on. But during this time, continue your spiritual practices, continue everything. And this attitude of being the best mother, it's about the child, not about you. It's something that you are supposed to give, whatever that means, for her sake. So it is the same principles apply, not creating expectations. Don't transform her in a way of making your life better or purposeful, meaningful. It is about her and her needs, not about your personal needs. But and at the same time, look at it is a part of the dream, and it is a make-believe uh, investment, and make the real investment your spiritual process, your practices. It is one very good way of practicing uh, service, of serving, not making it something about you, about your needs, but about her needs, with no expectations attached, just fulfilling that responsibility, filling her with love, and continue your practices. And even by doing this, seeing it as a dream also, and intensifying your practices. As the process begins to become alive, then you'll start to see things more clearly. What is best, what is worst, where it has to be. But if you have this quest, if that child is there, as long as destiny keeps it there, so give her the best. And the best is also, or especially, your intense practices, your intense desire for liberation and the pursuing of it. Let her see this, let her accompany this. This will be very good for her also. If you have more questions, more specific ones, send them, I can complement. I will answer your question now. Not really going to answer it, but please tell the stages of the night of the soul. I will tell you something. I didn't spend my time um, learning about philosophy or psychology or a lot of those things. See, I bypassed a lot of those things and went directly intensifying my practice. So sometimes people ask me questions like, I've read all these books. I read some, but not so many, and like I know all these things like this. But this is not what is important. continuing our conversation, what is important is your situation now. The questions I asked you previously, are you there in that ashram? Do you have a spiritual discipline? What is, have you given your life for service, for your quest for truth? Do you have a spiritual practices? What are you doing? And what are you experiencing during this moment? Because if you're giving me, you're asking questions to understand things inside yourself and make your puzzles in there, it will be difficult because you will still continue to see what you need to see. By the other way, if you expose yourself, then you have the opportunity to receive something that it's not really a part of your world. And by that, you can actually see something. So you're not asking the right questions. These kinds of questions, you can just Google it and you will find a lot of things. Make it more concrete. What is happening with you and what circumstances are there? This will be better. Okay, I will answer your questions now. And I will still, not sure if you're watching this, but when you're watching this, I will still comment on those questions that you said no need because they were answered, not because just of your sake, but for others. And so this is about a previous satsang, which we talk about. Someone asked about manonasa, and you kindly offered here the teaching, the explanation about it. And I'm not still going to say where it has come for evident reasons. No need to mention the teacher or the master, no need. It's okay. So manonasa is the final end of ego mind. Maybe this is not important. I will go directly where the questions are. In the awareness, watching awareness method, no external teacher is needed. All that is required is awareness, watching awareness method. Just let me clarify to you that I never read anything about this master in particular. I have no idea of its teachings, and I will take what you are sending here as your interpretation of the teachings. I will explain why this is important later in responding to one of these, in commenting to one of these lines. And that one has the, okay, let me start again. All that is required in the awareness, watching awareness method is that one has to precise practice as the precise practice instructions, and that one follows them by practicing. At first, the written instructions are the teacher, then the practice is the teacher. The written instructions are the teacher only for the time it takes you to read them or listening to them, if you decide to record them. Therefore, the teacher is the awareness, watching awareness practice. The awareness, watching awareness practice is the true, real, enduring teacher. You never need to physically see a teacher on this direct path. Physically seeing a teacher would draw your attention outward and would be counterproductive. Before I go into this, it is probably good to explain a few things. All you see around from every level of teachings and teachers, this is not by accident. And everything that is available to you is available, good and bad, whatever that means, is available by grace. Bear this in mind. And this is for the seeker of truth. These words are for the seeker of truth. And everything is a blessing in one way or another that only the seeker of truth can prosper. Seeker of well-being will not prosper in a good teacher, a bad teacher, good teaching, bad teaching. It is about you and your capabilities in this moment, your real ones, not the ones that you imagine to have, your real ones. This is important. And there's an obsession about this, no teacher, avoiding teacher and all of this. And this is true for 0.0111% or 0.001%. But let's continue. All that is required in the awareness, watching awareness method, I don't know what method is that, but okay, I understand by the way it is put what it is. Watching awareness method is that one has the precise practice instructions. I don't know what this means, because there is no such thing as precise instructions. I guarantee you this. There's no such thing as precise instructions. An instruction can be given, and as it is given, it can seem the most precise instruction, and it will be misinterpreted by almost everybody that reads them apart differently from the one who has written them. So precise instructions, it's something that it is very complicated. Utopic. The written instructions are the teacher only for the time it takes you to read them or listening to them, if you decide to record them. Therefore, the teacher is the awareness, watching awareness practice. The awareness, watching awareness practice is the true, really enduring teacher. You never need to physically see a teacher on this direct path. Physically seeing teacher would draw your attention outward and will be counterproductive. Yes, surely, for the one who is completely innerly immersed. And that is not the majority of those who are practicing this, because they are taking care of their lives, their physical lives, the lives around them, and only this physical teacher will distract them. So, for those who these words fit are those who are completely turned inwards. And the written instructions are the teacher. Again, these written instructions, what is written and what is understood or read, they are completely different universes. Completely different universes. Not for everybody, but for the majority. But maybe we'll go back to this again in another way. There is only one guru, that is the infinite self-awareness within. Within what? What about without? About out isn't the same? If we're going to say this, there's only infinite self-awareness. There's only infinite self-awareness. Nothing else exists. No teacher, no student. So no questions needed, no practice, nothing. No life, no human life, no human endeavors, no breathing, no eating, no nothing. If we're going to look like this, so the correct is that only infinite awareness, because even self-awareness, it's complicated because it is trying to look for the truth in the dream. No such thing. And again, words are complicated. In the dream, humans call the waking state. Or in the dream, humans call the dream state. There may be the appearance of a sage who appears to have a body. as you appear to have a body. As Sri Ramana Maharshi and Sri Nisargadatta have pointed out, such appearance of a body is only an illusion, a dream, just as a world and the universe is only illusion, a dream. But it is not a dream inside of the dream. It is still the same dream. Same dream. However, Sri Nisargadatta has pointed out the sage is the dream that can wake you up. And it is the teachings of the sage that are important and not the person or the guru. But, okay. When one talks about the type of sage that appears to have or did appear to have a body, then you can say that Sri Ramana Maharshi, Sri Muruganar, Sri Sadhu Om, and etc. are all my teachers. However, they are all one, and that one does not have a body. So what is this obsession with the body? If it is known that only awareness exists, and that bodies are a dream, so what is this? So if the seeker has this understanding, so what is his problem of looking at the body? And if he doesn't have this understanding, he will have to look at a body because he will not be able to move on without that. However, they are all one, and it is self-awareness within. Within, self-awareness, because this self-awareness within is the notion that I am the body, and there is a world outside the body and within the body. If we cannot mix philosophy, or else it's just a suitable language. There is no need of going here and there to see some supposed sage or guru or teacher. Their teachings can be found in books. What is important is to practice those teachings. But how will you understand the teachings? But first, let me tell you something. If there is a need, it arises there. There's no need of the sage for you to go after them. And if he is a sage, he will send you out again to see if what are you really looking for. But if there's any need arising, it is yours, not from the sage. So different. Their teachings can be found in books. Yes, they can, but the book will not clarify what you're understanding from the book. Will not tell you, look, you're making a confusion. You're adapting this world, these words to what you need. It will not test you to give you an opportunity to see the wrong motivations that are with you. It will not do you this. So if this satisfies you, good, no problem, because it seems that there is a discussion about something that I'm saying and something that this philosophy is saying, and I already clarified. I don't speak directly of any philosophy, and guidance here means something different what I'm doing here. This is just opportunity for those who are sitting there trapped in these kinds of philosophies, but not the philosophy that it is trapping. It is you that is picking the different philosophies and adapting them to maintain yourself stuck. Nothing wrong with philosophies. So this is opportunity for you to make your process alive, real. And that life takes care of the rest. So what is here written so far, what I've read, this is more or less what I speak about of guidance from within, using the word within again. But there's no contradiction here, because I don't see those differences in this whatever. The direct guidance, and it is the same, because this is for very, very, very few, and the majority who are grabbing to this? It's because the options would mean something that they are not really ready for yet, because it is about ego inflation, it is about maintaining their world of importances, it's about a lot of things. So to satisfy this urge, this desire for liberation, they grab what they can put. But then, if this is the direct, so guidance eventually has to appear somewhere, because if it is direct, it's going fast. What is the point of going direct and still spend a lot of time and just waiting and waiting and not moving from there? The direct path is that which is suitable for where you stand now. And where you stand now, it's not where you're going to stand tomorrow. It's like a worldly education. So children used to start, now it's even before, but okay, they used to start in the first grade. Then they move on to the second, to the third, to the fourth, and usually they would change teachers also. When they go to college, they are ready for that. So there is a logic, not that everyone goes through this, because different levels are there, but there is a logic for these things to be there. And if you're just trying because it is too boring, you don't have time for it because you like to play it, a child likes to play. So going to school for a lot of them, it is a nuisance. They don't want it, they want to continue to play. So if I have to spend so many years going through different places to different knowledges and all these things to arrive to college, so why don't I go directly? So I pick up so I go directly to college at age 6 or 7, and then I want to finish. I go directly to the last year of college, so that I can just move on with it and don't waste time with all these things. And I can go back playing. That's the idea. I finish the last year and I go back playing again. This is the child's idea. So eventually, the teacher receives that child and starts explaining and understands that the child is misinterpreting everything, has no clue of what he's talking about, is misinterpreting everything according to the child level of understanding, and it doesn't even know how to read or write. So for that teacher, there is two options. Or it sends the student away back to first grade, or it teaches the first grade and it has to use languages that are not a part of what he has to teach, of what he needs to teach. And this is always about the student. So these teachings, if they are coming from the source, a good source, they are very good teachings, very good. But the majority, these days, things have become so compromised that the majority of seekers of truth are not ready for anything like this. Anything like this. It would be interesting if they were, but they're not. And understand one thing, because this contradiction, I'm giving explanations here about certain things. This is not guidance. This is not guidance. Because if it was guidance, for example, and you come to me and you say, there is no need to going here and there to see some supposed sage or guru or teachings. If you have a book, I'll take the book, and okay. Now say, okay, take the book and go, leave. Probably I wouldn't even receive you. Like this, If you're so smart, take care of it. No problem. It is, uh, it is your time. It is your need, not my need. If this works for you, good. And the reason why I'm doing this here, it is because of those few seekers of truth that have been confused by these teachings and by a lot of things. Because yes, a lot of things are wrong. A lot of things are wrong, but right in a sense also, whatever that means. But here I'm explaining the difference of these things. But trust me, I'm not trying to convince you. I'm putting this explanation here as something which is also there available next to this which you have sent me. So that a seeker of truth can have a choice, but it is his choice. His choice. Because it is his need, not mine, not anyone else, his need. If the intense desire for freedom is awakened, all that one needs is spiritually will be brought to you. But let's imagine, for example, you're fixed in this idea. If it is for the good reasons, well, yes, okay, it's fine. But let's say that you're holding on to this particular notion that no master is needed because your ego, your arrogance is so big that you cannot go to anyone to ask in humility. Wow. Sorry, Instagram, this, just wait a little bit. The glue has fallen down. It is dangerous to imagine these things because all hell breaks loose. Let me change here. So don't get scared. Okay, so I'll just wait a little bit. I will stop a little bit here because else I cannot do this. Then I'll come back again. Just a moment. Just a little bit more. Eventually, we will get there. Maybe we should have make a break for commercials. Aha. And we're back again on Instagram. Okay, so where were we? Before all hell broke loose. If the intense desire for freedom is awakened, all that one needs spiritual will be brought to you. Yes, it will be brought to you. And it will be brought to you in the best way possible. And for you, if the best way possible is a physical master, then that will be. But again, for those who don't have a clue about what magic is, what is the beauty of a relationship with a spiritual master, and the need sometimes that it is in the heart of the seeker to live this, well, when the path is dry, it is complicated. But again, this need of having a physical master or not, this is something that is connected only to the seeker of truth. And he only gets a real understanding about this if if the process is alive and whatever the needs that come from his heart. Sometimes the seeker that wants to have a master and it's not in his path, it has to go to the direct path. Sometimes he doesn't want to and he will have to, but they will have to, it will not be pushed, he will have to realize that it needs, that he wants, but this needs, you see, it is like the inner, outer is the same. So the seeker of truth actually doesn't think about these things. The one who is afraid of being with the wrong master, of being deceived with the teachings, of this and that, who is in fear of even wasting his time or going into the wrong path or whatever, he is not really on the path because there is fear there. There's not trust. For the seeker of truth, trust is there. His process is alive. He is being guided. If guidance has to increase and become direct innerly, or if it is direct outerly, because it's still direct. And if you know that only awareness exists, only God exists, don't be afraid of that word. Then it is still awareness, it's still God, it's still consciousness, it's still the Guru, the Supreme Guru, it's still the same. So why would your eyes be distracted with anything else? It is still the same, no changes. And the The book is very good because the book will not bang you in the head, will not tell you, look, there's nothing there. What you're doing is just a complete waste of time. You're not ready for this. It will not do anything of this. And this is good because not having a master for those who are trapped in their own arrogance and all of those things, then the book doesn't question them. Even the photograph of a dead master, of Ramana Maharshi, that photo will not give you any bashing in your head when you're doing things that are completely against your path. Will do nothing. If he's just smiling, he will continue to smile. But the book Hmm? If you read the same book again and again and again and again, you will find different things that you could not see before. You will understand things differently. What does this mean? Well, for those who have read and read and read, they know what I'm talking about. This means what I was talking about previously. Your understanding is relative. And that which can increase is tunement with the one who has written, or with that who has written, but that is a long range. Hmm? So God is there so that you can have the blessing of being able to love him. Because loving that, it's not for everybody. Even if it is for anyone else. Because does that love you? Because that is love, but does that love you? That doesn't even recognize any of this. Not even you. That is just that is just a poetic vision. Poetic vision. To physically go to see some supposed sages to follow in direct path, unless it isn't for you. To go deep within one's consciousness to discover the inner teacher is to follow direct path. Yes? Surely. If the intense desire for freedom... okay, we read this again. So if there's any need for Shri Ramana Maharshi, Shri Murunagar, Shri Sadhu Om, Shri Anamalai Swan, it's okay. So if a master has to come to you, if you need it to come, it has to come in an old form that you can recognize. What about any form? Because if you're pure in intention, you will recognize it as it comes. And how do you know? Because this is making it personal. So that is the only teacher and takes up these bodies. So why not taking another body? A new one, only a past one that you recognize through studies. That is the only way that it has to come. Like everything is there and everything is a right and not a blessing. So as a right, it has to come in specific ways. But by making it personal, as Sri Ramana Maharshi or Sri Muruganar, who tells you that the other body that you don't know isn't the same personal identity or has been the personal identity of any of these sages? You just don't know. But the important seeker doesn't get access to any of this. He is too important. Things have to come to in a specific way. And as the majority of you can see by yourselves, only the waiting is there. None of this, just emptiness and waiting for something to come. But only emptiness is there. Because the real seeker of truth, he thanks whatever it comes to him. He thanks. This is what it doesn't judge. He thanks. If the intent, yes, of course. The fact that they are no longer in a body does not matter. They never were in a body in reality. However, there is usually no need for any such appearance. So, but in this philosophy, the fact that they are no longer in a body does not matter. Is there any time they have been in a body? Is there any time they won't be in a body? Is it they or is it it? Dancing with words, it's very nice. Very nice. But it doesn't mean that it takes anywhere. The teachings are there, they can be practiced. The inner teacher can be discovered. Can, if it has to. Can, if it must. can if it will. The teaching was what was important. Okay, in the dream described above, the appearance of Nisargadatta in the dream was very brief, because the appearance of Nisargadatta in the dream was not what was important. The teaching was what was important. The teaching was what was important. In these days, yes, the teaching, and this explains a lot, this vision explains a lot of things. So this is where this greedy mind comes, going after things and going after teachings and not honoring them. A lot of things are wrong, yes, but understand something. Those who are more wrong are the seekers of a truth. And the teachers that are not real, they are just seekers of truth. Okay, now another hot topic. About the money and teachers topic. There is nothing wrong with teachers asking for money for their teachings, but isn't a clear sign that this teacher still has self-interest and an ego that therefore his teachings will be misleading? It can be, or it cannot, or it can't be. It depends on a lot of things. You see, if you look black and white, they are not the only colors, you see? So it can be, it cannot be. But if you're going through your path, your spiritual path, using these eyes, what and this mind, what can you see? If you say, if you would come to me here asking for guidance, which is different from here I'm explaining here online, because in the ashram, when people come, I don't explain. Here, I do, but in the ashram, no. I test to see if you're ready or not. So if you would come with this, I will ask you, I don't know, $50, $100, whatever. Whatever you have there, give it. If you want to run away, well, bye-bye. So it can be or it cannot be. It depends on a lot of things. But mostly it is. But it depends. And if you are judging this, you are moving away from the life of the path. You're just distracting yourself with appearances. So this is what I'm telling you. Start your spiritual practices, intensify, make your process alive. Distrust this the most of you can, as far as possible, and try to listen, try to surrender, to continue, and let the life of the process come, and then it will direct. It will direct. If this is not possible for you and the thirst is there, then you will have to, well, you still have something you can trust, and that is your work and your intensity. That can open some doors. Authentic spiritual teachers never accept donations. They never allow organizations to accept donations for them. Whenever there is exchange of money, that is business. Yes, in a sense, yes. And the business has the one who is selling and the one who is buying. But there's another vision to this. Let me see if there's something else here. Beware of spiritual business people. Yes. As soon as you see a solicitation for donations or fee, run away quickly. Just imagine if I wanted to learn something from my father, if my father said, okay, but first you must pay me $10 or $100. It is easy for you to see that something would have gone wrong with such a relationship. Maybe, because I can tell you one thing. If that son would go to the father and ask to teach him something, and that father would look at his son and would recognize that his son has become an obnoxious brat who only thinks about himself, that thinks that everything in life is right, that he has no obligations for anything, that has no sensitivity for anything, and doesn't appreciate nothing, then probably that father should charge those not $10 but the $100, because if that is the only way to make that child more humble, to understand that things have a meaning, a deeper meaning, then he should. Then he should. Because it is the father's duty to educate the child. So if you're a son and you're trying to understand things from the perspective of the father, you will never be able to do that, because the father has a different part, different from the son. And you will only know that when you're a father. So in some circumstances, not even he should really charge that or make the son work to be able to earn that privilege, and to see things more as blessings and not more as rights and things to demand. Because if he doesn't educate his son, he will be miserable all his life, thinking that everything is a right in itself. It will be miserable. So if the father doesn't do this, these days, children are more miserable because everything is there, just given. Everything but the father and the mother. Okay, that's another subject. And they are miserable because everything is a right. They demand and it comes, demand and it comes, and never satisfies. Because there is something else apart from things and the exchange of things. But the most important aspect of all this, which is written there, it is the vision of seekers of truth. And that speaks a lot more. But I will tell you something else. In this ashram, there is seekers of truth here, and donations are accepted, not asked, but are accepted. Exceptionally, there are certain cases that they are asked, because I'm also here educating, whatever that means. So, but the reason why and the way that the world is functioning these days, if you don't have a structure, you cannot teach and you cannot receive others. And for those who are sitting in a place and following this philosophy that you brought me in, they are ready for it. They are not questioning all these structures of the world. For those who are grabbing to this to protect their own world, they know how the world works in a way. And if you don't have a structure, something organized, legal, problems will be there. And the one who is sitting there protecting his own life with his own things, it is just one seeker. There are those who have a strong inner desire and the need to be accepted, to look for the feats of their master, and to be accepted and to live with them, to learn as much as they can. So how will they have the opportunity of being in such a place? How does that work? Because those who come here, if they have something, they give something. If they have nothing, they give nothing. But what about the rest? Looking at these higher philosophies, if the problem is, because let us see, if that spiritual teacher, if he is a real teacher, he was able to transcend mundane existence. So he cannot handle money or organizations or whatever. So he's a superhuman by one side, and he's a handicapped, brain damaged by another side. Because there are things that transcend even this manonasa that you're talking about. Just there's a lot of things that you don't know, a lot of things. Every teacher has its own purpose and he is serving them. Either he knows it or not. Being a good teacher or a bad teacher, everything has a place, whatever that means. Eventually, nothing exists, or only existence is there, whatever that means. But things have However, people usually fail to see that when a spiritual teacher is collecting donations, something has gone wrong with that relationship. Where there is love, there is no need for exchange of money. But are you sure it is an exchange? And that this exchange is a need of the teacher and not a need of the student? Everything can be argued here, but the one who is arguing, again, is distracted from his path. You go at the spiritual traditions, and you will find this everywhere, and you see distortion everywhere also. It's not about traditions, it's about people. Maybe a day when you have the need to go somewhere looking for shelter, for teachings, for guidance, maybe your vision will change, but maybe not. Like I said previously, sometimes I receive seekers here that come, look around, and oh, I've came to see if this is a good place for me to stay, to receive teachings. Wow. Interesting. So, a lot of things are wrong, yes. But I know what you're talking about also, and everything is there. But usually, these teachers that you are mentioning here, they only exist because of the seekers that go there and that understand that the self-importance is so high that they can buy things. They can buy spiritual teachings. And wherever there's someone willing to buy some, there's someone willing to sell. So in this salad of rights and wrongs, which there isn't rights and wrongs, everything is there for a reason. If you make your process real, you don't have to waste time with these things. If you're wasting times with these things, then, because it's not about what's right or wrong, it's about what you need. This is the reason. And these teachings that are for very few, they seem to find a bigger and bigger audience, because the majority is just, the calling is there, the desire is there for liberation, but they want to keep enjoying with good excuses. This is where this comes. The interpretations, the endless interpretations of all of this. The endless. And you see, to talk about these things that you have sent, you have I don't know how many teachers giving satsang without knowing anything of what they're talking about, without having this final liberation. And they are just blabbering about their own confusions and repeating these words and bringing more confusion to others. Because this is still a doctrine, how do you say this? Indoctrination. It is still a philosophy. It is still something like, how do you say this in English? The do's and don'ts. They are like those things that animals go through to go to the barn. I don't know the name of it. O redil. Como é que é o redil? Sabes? Something to guide where they go through and they don't leave that place. It is more or less like the não ajuda nada. Okay. So it is still a philosophy, something to follow blindly until your eyes begin to see. Still that. But the biggest, one of the most important aspects of all of this is this attitude of judging all of these things. And as a seeker of truth, you shouldn't be bothered with these things. You should be intensely making your work, and whatever comes to you, that something here signals this is what you need to follow. And again, I tell you, if you would come to me physically, with these beliefs in your mind, and you would come to observe what is happening there, to see if it fits with my descriptions, with my expectations of what is right or wrong, you can be sure, 100% sure, that I would show you exactly the opposite of what you were expecting. If you're expecting that no donations are there, there would be donations required. If you would expect that there would be donations required, there won't be any required. Whatever you will be upholding, I would make sure to show you the opposite. To see what was guiding you and what do you still trust, beliefs or the call. Because if there's no call, there's just beliefs, so that's nothing to do with me. And it's no real process, so nothing is there to be said. But if the calling is there, and if it was the calling that has brought you here, then there is a decision for you to make. To abide by your beliefs, what your eyes are showing you, or the calling that has brought you. So in kindergarten, things are explained like I'm explaining here. Because, like I said previously, again and again, this is opportunity for those seekers of truth who are starting or who have been distracted in so much confusion, to give them a chance not to come to me or to come anywhere else, to start their own process, to make it alive, make it real, and then follow the guidance that comes from it. But I can tell you, if it brings you here, if it would have brings you here with these beliefs, I would make sure that I would show you the opposite that what you were expecting. I would not give you that feeling of security. No, I would test you to see what is more important for you. Security, beliefs that fit, or the calling. Because whatever is there about beliefs, it is crystallizing, it is become a part of your delusion. So even the truth, or reading about the truth, or one aspect of the truth, it doesn't liberate. Everything is there, and it has a reason, whatever that means. So no point trying to judge or evaluate that which you cannot understand. And these teachings, what you have put here, I take them as your interpretation of the teaching, with the faults that it involves, with everything that involves. because like I said, I don't know this, at least the author of these teachings or the master of these teachings. I have no idea, but I understand where it's coming from. But for someone who knows by reading all of this, if this is like this, if it was originally written like this, it is visible a lot and a lot of contradictions in the writings itself. But this is you who have written, so I'll take it this as the interpretation of what you have read and not what you have read really. Hmm? So this is why I'm not going too much on these contradictions. And we could go on with this. There's so much here to go through, so much. You are right and you are wrong when your assertions about all these things, because uh, you are right, and these days this is the most common. And but usually where you are right, it's not about masters. Maybe teachers, yes, maybe teachers. And the teacher, in the distinction of the teacher and the master, the teacher is not is not a deception in charging that money. This is not his biggest deception, because the teacher and the master. Hmm? So the teacher being there and charging money, it's not the biggest deception. If he is there giving satsang, this is not his biggest deception. If he's charging money or not charging money, this is details. Just details. Being there without this realization, this final realization, this is the biggest deception. And of course, something that I can do by myself and keep up with my life and all about this is good. People buy this. Seekers come here and, for example, and they are looking for these assurances, and each one with their own assurances. From my part, I break as much as I can in the beginning. So that if this is just because of these spiritual greeds, let them go somewhere else. If there's something valuable there, then they will have to go through the difficulty of moving away from their securities or their ideas of securities. And this is opportunity to start walking the real path. And the real path is not direct or indirect, is from where you really stand and what you really need. This is the direct path. See? So with these visions, this is not something that people pay for, but someone who is there, who is adapting teachings, philosophies, according to personal needs, to the modern life, this is payable. People pay for this. So it is good, but apart from the master, the teacher who is not a master, if he is there, he is the deception. The deception is not if he is charging or not. Because if the master is charging or not, whatever that means, well, he probably knows what he is doing. But yes, teachings are not, they are not charged. It is a difference, but by people giving donation or being charged by donation. This is different. But again, if I wanted to teach you a lesson or to test you in any way, I would do it, no problem. But here, for example, if you want to stay here, you will pay for your room and everything else. But if you come here for satsang, you don't pay anything. Staying here, not staying here, it is the same as this online thing. But that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. And the part of the seeker of truth is surrendering, trusting the life of the process, God, whatever he believes in, and not distracting himself with these things. Because if it is fear bound, because if it is there and these things are there, just turn your face away from it and follow your path. And this guides in the beginning until guidance presents itself innerly, outerly. There's something here that guides. But then you will have to choose during a big part of the path until surrender is complete. You will have to choose following what this is saying or the beliefs here. And believe me, when things become serious, they will come in a way to break your beliefs and not to make you feel safe with them. Trust me or don't trust me. You choose. So yes, the father would have to collect something if the child was like this. This kind of child, this is the majority of seekers of truth these days. And self-centered and selfishness and all of these things are abundantly. And everybody's speaking about money. Money, money, and the guru takes money, and there's money, money, money. So what is the most precious thing for the seeker? Money. So who needs it really? If you have more questions about this, send. Hot topics are also always interesting. Okay, I will answer to you. Okay, I'm sorry I wasn't able to listen to response on how one can sharpen one's intuition other than by meditation. Could you please talk about it? Thank you. Well, my friend, what I can tell you is perhaps if you go and listen to the satsang of that day, you can get your answer. This mentality of everything is available now, directly, this is not the best thing. See, you have asked your question, I've answered you in that day. All you have to do is go to the previous satsang and listening to it. Maybe you can find more things there than you asked for. So this is what I advise you. Go back, listen to the other. After listening to it, if you didn't really understand yet, then you can ask again. Like this is win-win. You have watched this one, you will watch the previous one. Is always a win-win. But this mentality of everything is available here now and has to be, and this difficulty in searching a little bit, in investing time, this is a mentality that has to be contradicted. Okay. So my advice to all of you continues the same. Well, there was another question that it was asked here. I think I didn't answer. Oh, here it is. Yes. When you say to make the process alive, could you give some examples of what it means? Well, I can tell you, for example, if a body is alive, the heart is beating, the lungs are working. This is the kind of, and but it is different. And the words that I've been using to describe this life in the process, that which takes over you, that presents sometimes as fire, that has a presence, this is the closest I can get. And I don't want to go even beyond this, because I don't want your minds to create this, because this is what the mind does, especially with those philosophies of the awareness, watching awareness, and all of these things. It creates, it sees a lot of descriptions, and then it starts creating this. When the life of the process is there, you will know. You will know. There is a presence, there is a relationship, and there is a direction. If it's not there, well, in that intensification of practices, because clarification is possible to a certain extent, and that extent is how much does your world takes, because transcendence of the world is different from collapse of the world. Collapse of the world is depression. Transcendence is not depression, it's completely opposite. Not opposite because it doesn't have a relationship to it, but okay. So these descriptions, if I start giving them, they can and they will be recreated by the mind in the absence of the real thing. So sincere work, sincere practice will punch a hole in your world and give you the opportunity possible. And usually those opportunities demand that you walk through unsafe territory. And that means usually they go against your beliefs about how things should be there. Because if there is if you're very thirsty, or very hungry, for example, and you don't have any food, nobody's giving you food, and eventually you walk into a house, could I have something to eat? The owner comes and says, okay, you can eat this, I have this kind of food here. And as you are receiving the food, you're saying, no, can I get something else, please? I would like this and this and this and that. The owner will look at you and probably will, okay, just wait 5 minutes, I will go and prepare. And he walks inside, closes the door, and you wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour. Eventually you'll understand that, or you go away because nothing is coming, or you ask for forgiveness and please ask for them to give you that meal for you to be able to eat it. Sorry, it is that I wasn't able to find the last satsang video. I couldn't bother to repeat this. I couldn't bother to repeat this question, sir. I didn't understand this last part. But videos are there. So os vídeos estão no satsang, no YouTube. Okay, so the previous video, if you go to, I don't know where you're watching this, but if you go to Facebook, it is there. Okay, they will put the link on the chat there for you to see. And I could really answer the question, yes, I could, but I won't. Go check the other one. If you have more doubts, you can come and ask, and we can even deepen this subject. But go and watch the other satsang. So giving it examples here will help to continue, and bear this in mind. All those constructions, all the impulses, the urges from it. There is the urge for those who have this calling, the urge for freedom, but all other urges are for the maintenance of illusion. And the twisting of the spiritual path, the twisting of the spiritual teachings, everything is twist according to this. And if guidance is not coming from within, well, if you're lucky enough to be accepted by a master with a body, then you will have much more chances than by just looking at the book and reading what is written there. But only a big thirst makes this different, because if the thirst is not big, you can wait 2 years, 10 years, 20 years for that direct guidance, 1 life, 2 lives, 4 lives, and then, well, let me just take what is coming to me. Maybe it will come, or maybe it will not need, it will not be a need. You see, everyone has their path. Is not a question of what is best, what is worst. The best is what you need, what is important for you according to according to your own illusion. That is the best. If you have any questions, and these answers, they came in a way that sometimes it creates confusions, because this is not only an answer but sometimes also a provocation for you to question these beliefs inside. So if you have questions about this, some other hot topics you want to put, you can send, and I will answer what it is possible to answer. Okay? So next satsang will be Saturday. There won't be satsang Sunday because not many questions, so maybe not much of a need for it. So we'll reduce one day, and if it continues like this, we will reduce until it ends. If questions increase, we can increase it up to even 1 time a day or even 2 times a day. No problem. So everything is per need. So whatever comes, it is like this. Okay, so until Saturday, if you deem fit, intensify your practices, make it real for you. Partizan? Okay, till Saturday.